Okay, so what do you do when you've trained, you've got fit, you've done the training plan, you've spent months preparing, and it all goes wrong, and you think you failed? What do you do? Now, that's gonna happen, and that's just part and parcel of running. It's part and parcel of trying to achieve something, part and parcel of growth, part and parcel of trying to improve. It's a natural part of the process, and the fact that you've put yourself out there and failed is already a massive tick in the box for me. I love that people are willing to put it on the line, get your hat in the ring, and potentially fail. The fact that you've done that is already a winning thing, but how should you recover after that? Now, it depends on the situation. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Now, you can go to a race. I just had some friends literally yesterday in Chiang Mai. They've gone to a race. They spent a month there before training. They've got acclimatized to the conditions. There's a lot of cost that goes into that. There's a lot of time and energy. There's a lot of looking over the course. They've set themselves up for success, and in their minds, they've failed. Now, they've succeeded for so long and they've learned lessons. So you kind of only win or learn. You don't win or lose, but they've learned stuff that they will then put into their future race preparations. So there's that to take home. But what they will be feeling like now is that they've failed and that they need to regroup. And these are professional athletes. They need to regroup. And when you're training towards something, there's going to be an amount of energy and effort and focus and attention that has. It consumes your life, especially, the faster you want to go and the higher your expectations, the more it's going to consume you. And with that high, whether you win or, in your eyes fail, or whether you win or learn, the drop off and that emotional drop off is going to be severe. It's going to be to the point where every high comes with a low, of course, but you're going to feel that, and that's going to be emotionally draining for you for maybe a few days, maybe a few weeks, maybe for some people it's a couple of months. And the strange part is that the higher that win, and especially if you succeed, that often comes with, okay, I succeeded. I did everything that I was trying to do. Everything that I trained to came true and more. And the drop-off is even more severe because it's often faced with a level of disappointment, because what you thought you were heading towards, and this is whatever we try to do in life, when we think this will make us happy once we've done this. Once I've bought that car, it's going to make me happy. Once I've got that apartment, once I've got that dream job, once I've made that dream time in the marathon, I'm going to be happy. It's not like that. It's kind of like you're going to, the higher you go, the further the fall. So you've got to remember that, and you've got to factor that into your training, because it may be that although you're physically beaten up, you need to take more time than you probably think in order to regain that emotional strength, mental strength, and then the physical strength as well. It may be that on a high that you feel great, I'm going to run the next day, or I'm going to run just 2 days later. It's a big mistake to do that. You need to give yourself some time to regroup. What did I think from that? What can I learn from that? What did I learn? And where can I improve? And so you need to kind of like sit down with yourself and take a pen and paper and literally take down everything you learned from the race, where you could improve, where you think you failed, where you could have done better in the training. Literally kind of like an after race report, so that you can reread that later on. It's very easy to see the data now, whether it's Strava, Garmin Connect, wherever you're tracking your data. And it's very easy to look back on that data years later or months later to talk about feelings and how you actually feel right now, and how you actually felt within the race. Even if it's a short race, it might be like 10K race, and after 3K, I felt as if I'm finished, and I had to regroup, and that 4th K was a real struggle, but I managed to bring my heart rate down and then go again for the next 6K after that 4th K. Feelings like that, you won't remember just from the data, so it's really important to look at that. A really perfect example I can give you is, and this is kind of during COVID, but I wanted to get a Western States golden ticket. And to do that, I knew I needed to win a golden ticket at Tarawera in New Zealand. And my plan, I'd be training all winter, was to go and win or come second in the Tarawera ultramarathon in New Zealand. And at the very last moment, or just a few weeks before, they changed the entry, so there was no international entrance. So I had to rethink and then regroup, and eventually the race was cancelled. So I quickly kind of pivoted, changed to Black Canyons Ultra in America, and went there with this kind of crazy flight from Chiang Mai to Bangkok, Bangkok to Dubai, Dubai to San Francisco or San Diego, and then to Phoenix, Arizona. And it was it's a monster kind of 35-hour trip. Got there, but went there with every intention to win the race and gain that golden ticket. So I had the entrance into Western States. Ended up falling after 5 miles, after just like 20 minutes, 5 miles would not be 20 minutes. So after like 25, 30 minutes, ended up finishing the race, a 100K race within 5 miles. So I didn't get further than 8K. And I had to jog or hobble to the next aid station in order to meet the crew, in order to drop out of the race because there was no going back. So what did I learn from that? It's like, okay, so I underestimated the course, definitely at Black Canyons. It was a completely different type of trail. I just literally looked at the profile of the start and finish and thought that the course record was pretty slow, so that's what I was aiming for. Didn't look at anybody else who was in the race, because I never look at anybody else who's in the race, because I'm not running their race, I'm running my race. But I came away from that, and that was a massive fail. And what you're doing is, in that situation, I don't feel as if I'm just failing myself. I'm failing my sponsors, I'm failing the people that have paid me to be there, I'm failing in terms of getting the golden ticket, so I then need to think and then go again to try and get the golden ticket. And I've hurt myself, so I've kind of like twisted my ankle and bruised my foot. I thought I'd broken a bone in my foot because I basically stubbed my toe very, very badly. And then so you've got all those feelings, and you're sat in a hotel room in Phoenix on your own afterwards thinking, what have I just done all that for? So there's lots of decisions you can make on the spot there. You can pivot and go in a different direction. Okay, I'm not interested in Western States. I'm going to stick to what I knew. And that's what I did. And then I got back onto the roads, did what I did, and I needed to gain that, I guess, confidence without wanting to say it. I needed to gain that next win, which was a 100K race in Italy, in order for me to go, okay, get back on the horse and go again. But was that rash thinking? If I look back on it, I should have regrouped, retrained, moved over to California to Canyons Ultra Trail, and then gone again in that 100K, because I didn't have so much of an injury. I could run within a week. So I should have pivoted, gone for that race, and then gained the ticket, hopefully in that race, in order to do Western States. And then I would have been on the way. And that was the difference between February Black Canyons and April Canyons Ultra Run. That's how I should have done it. So with perspective, with giving it a few days rest, I could have pivoted and done the right thing. So I regret that situation, but in another sense, I did the right thing by going back to the road, going back to something that I knew in order to take that win in Italy. So what's my kind of overall advice? It's not always going to go your way, and that's brilliant. The fact that you're putting it out there and you're actually failing at something because your goal is so high is actually brilliant. And learning to fail should be a part of children's sporting and exercise and play as they grow up. We've got to learn how to do that, because it's not always going to go your way, and that makes the highs even higher. But as I said, once you kind of win, or you learn and you've kind of been, you've not got the result you want, you need to regroup and really think about, okay, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What can I do more of? And where could I have done better in that race and in that preparation? It's often in the preparation that everything is going to go your way in the race. You may have something like a stumble or something crazy goes on in the race, but it's usually in the preparation. That part where you're getting fit, and then that dedicated 10 weeks before the race, that's where you're going to win or learn during the race. I hope you got some alpha from this. If you're training for a race right now, or if you've just done a race and it's not gone your way, I'd love to hear about it. Tell me